Gordon. Workplace 10, the first section, 1.1, proportional reasoning. Now follow along. Everybody's got a pencil or a pen? Good. Okay. Put these fractions into lowest terms. You might remember something like this, but changing a fraction, how do you reduce a fraction or put it in lowest terms is what we're going to figure out first. Now, I'll guide you through here with this one here. You look at 4 over 8. Does anybody just recognize what that is as a smaller fraction, like the smaller number? 2 over 4 is smaller, and it could be even smaller than that. So you could see it though and keep reducing. How'd you do that? You did something to the top and the bottom, right? You divided the numerator and denominator, the top and the bottom, by 2. You got to find, if you want to do it all in one step though, you've got to think of what's the biggest number I can do. What's the biggest number you could divide into 4 and 8? It's okay to save your answers. What divides into 4 and 8 and bigger than 2? It's 4. But you could go directly. I want to show you here, and then I'll show what Misha did. If you think of this as divide by 4, divide by 4, if you follow me, and jot that down just so you know what's going on here. Then you got 4 divided by 4, that's 1. 8 divided by 4, that's 2. 1/2. Now what Misha said, it works too. So Misha, I'm just going to write this down and then erase it here. You said right off the bat, you can see 2 out of 4. That's great. And then you could divide that by 2 again. It's just an extra step, and you'd have 1/2, the same answer. You can do it in 2 or 3 steps if you want. I'm going to erase that though, just because if you try to look for the biggest thing possible and you can figure it out, it's quicker. Now, asking you guys, what's the biggest number possible to go into 6 and 9 to reduce that fraction? 3. So, in your head, you could probably do it. 6 divided by 3, 9 divided by 3. Come up with a fraction, write it down. I'll check it in with you in 5 seconds. It's making sense, Jocelyn? You probably have an answer, right? For 6 over 9? Divide by 3, divide by 3. Yeah, you'll notice in my classroom I try to ask people stuff. Tyrell, right? Tyrell, am I saying it right? You getting there? Okay. What do you got for this fraction reduced? 2 over 3, 2/3, yeah. It's just a smaller way of doing the fraction. And it makes more sense in a lot of times to have the smallest fraction possible. I'm going to ask you guys to spend a minute or two, not even a minute or two. Figure out what's the biggest numbers to reduce this one. This one's trickier. There's a number that goes into both top and bottom on that one too. Do C and D, and we'll check in with you in a few seconds here. If you need a calculator, use it. Yeah. Might have one on your phone. I got it through extras. If it's.
Does it kind of make sense? Does it kind of make sense?
Sure. Where are we at? Oh, right. Yeah, but that just stays there. Yeah, so I like to put 4 divided by 3 right off the bat. And pi, you know, that's so sometimes it's built into calculated values. Yes, sir? Oh, then you got that. Okay. I'm going to just see here where we're at. Now, is this making some sense to you? What goes in 15 and 20? It's a number that divides them both.
See how, yeah? Yeah. What would divide into 15 goes into 20 as well. So it would be 15 divided by 5. To add division sign there. So that's what you would be thinking there. So divide by 5 divided by 5. Try that.
And then you guys, the last one is not too big a number, but you can try to see it. I'm gonna run through this one. I know not everyone might be done, but a lot of you are. Divide by 5, divide by 5 is what you're thinking. And then you got 3/4, 3 out of 4. Now, I'll go with Marissa. Learning the names. What divides at the top and bottom here? You're not sure? Does somebody know it? 5 goes into the top but not into the bottom. Because 5s are easy to identify. They have 0s or 5s at the very last number, right? Digit, right? Not 6. 7. Oh, good heaven. It is 7. Cuz, think back, and I know, I figured this one would trick out some people, because 2s and 5s are easy to identify. I said 2s and 5s, and so I wrote down 2 at the same time. Now look at this. Okay. 35 divided by 7? 5. 28 divided by 7? 4. Thank you. Now, we can leave that. But that one, that's the only number that goes into both. Once you're totally reduced, all those answers, you can't divide anything other than a number 1 into those. They're the smallest they could possibly be if you got a good answer there. Now, is there questions about reducing? Okay. How can you tell if these fractions are equivalent? Is the next thing to ask you. Is 5 out of 9 the same as 10 out of 18? Basically, you ask one way or the other, you can do this. Can this smaller number be, like, can you multiply top and bottom by something to make it 10 out of 18? Or, think of the other way. Can I divide 10 by something to make 5 and the same number divide to make 9? Can you reduce the larger one to the smaller one? Yeah, you can. What do you got to do to the big fraction? Divide by 2, right? So they are equivalent, but I'm going to show that, right? So we got 5 out of 9 on this side. And if I divide this by 2, divide this by 2, 10 out of, that's 5 out of 9. They are equal. I guess I'll put an equal sign. Saying they're equal anyways. Now this one. Can you turn a 6 into a 3 and divide by the same number and get 7 out of the 21? If so, what's that number you're going to divide both top and bottom by? Now, I've got some Keenan, right? You see a number that works. What would you divide 6 by to make it 2? 3? 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2, right? Now, if I divide that by 3, and I divide this by 3, because you got to, what you do to the top, you do to the bottom. That's kind of a old-fashioned rule here. Well, I got 2 out of 7 here, but what's 6 divided by 3? That is 2. So I've tried on the bottom. 21 divided by 3. Is 7. So this works. This is equivalent. Now you're probably thinking, you wouldn't make them all equal. It's just this one. Does it work? What would you divide 30 by, oh, did the wrong thing here. What would you divide 30 by to make it 5? 6. 6 it is. Yes, thank you. So let's try it with a 6. We do 6 on the top. Try 6 on the bottom. You can't do the bottom one though, can you? So no good. This one's doesn't work. Not equal. Not equivalent. It almost looks like it should be, but it isn't. You know why? You can always check your answer too. A shortcut. If you type these into your calculator and get a decimal for it, so if I type in, because a fraction is like division, eh? So if I type in 5 divided by 9, I get a decimal, 555 forever. If I type in 10 out of 18, it'll also give me the same decimal, 555 forever. If you try it with 5 out of 11 though, look at this. So if I go 5 out of 11 and type it in my calculator, 5 divided by 11, I get 0.4545. And then, you guys ever see a bar over top of it, meaning goes on forever, like 45, 45, 45? That's what that would mean. 45, 45, 45. But if I type in 30 out of 55, that's actually 6 out of 11. So, yeah. 30 divided by 55. We get 54. That's a little different. 0.54, 54, 54. Almost the same, but it ain't. 54 cents is different than 45 cents. So that's how you know they're not equal. You can double check with a calculator always. Just remember, a fraction also represents division. Now, those are some skills. You guys probably saw them grade 7 or 8, even grade 6 maybe. But you can be rusty on them. Not a question, just an itchy armpit or something, eh? Okay. Oh, am I going too fast? Okay, I try to go slow, so if you ever have a concern, let me know. So, this. How do we solve for x when you got this here? Now, there's a way to figure this out. And I have it on a poster here. I don't know, Jocelyn, I don't know if you can read from that side. Can you? Cross, multiply, divide by the loner. I actually have that very question up there. But, how do we do this? I'm going to just write this down. Hello. Come on in. What's that?
Homework.
Yep. Tell you what, like I was saying, it probably makes more sense for you to keep going on this 10. Hello. I'm going to just get forgotten Alyssa Dusty home. And I have 2 Alyssas now, so Alyssa McKenzie, Alyssa Dustyhorn. So Alyssa, come on up, grab a grade 10er thing. Boys, grade 10. Send someone up. Yeah, Riel and Alia's Cullen, is it? And Jade. Jaden, right? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not, I might get mixed up with Jaden and Cullen sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Take it back.
But by the way, I actually have a spare right now. I just came here because.
Oh, you're not actually in this class?
Yeah.
Okay, then you don't have to work on this. You're just working. Can you take it back for the other boys? No.
Yeah.
Jaden and Cullen. Okay, so Riel. Gotcha. Where am I? Okay, we're learning how to do this. This is at the bottom of the first page. 3 here. We're just picking it up. And Alyssa, yeah. So we were going through some equivalent fractions things. I can help you out if you need.
I didn't know about work last year for helping on.
What do you mean for nothing? I'm just thinking if you want to, you can rework it. I have it in there if you want. But I think you could do better. Anyways, if you want to, you can use that. But just thinking it's easier than going on your own ahead, eh? So how do we solve one of these? Write this down around here. Cross multiply, because it's your rule, and divide by the loaner. If you remember that, you can solve any equation that looks like that, and you're going to see this equation a lot. A lot. Now, we'll do A right away after. Let's get this. I'll change the color up a bit. A. So I have 2 out of 3 equals x out of 12. The first thing you have to do is think, where's the x? Okay, so there's the x, right? So this is where the x is. Where do you cross multiply? You take the two numbers that are diagonal from each other, and this is what I mean by cross multiply. 2 times 12, that's the cross multiply. 2 times 12. And then the loaner, which is the number that's alone, it doesn't have a diagonal? It's the loaner is 3. You guys follow what I'm saying there? So it's sort of like, and I'll just kind of jot that in there. So this is what you're multiplying across, and this is like your loaner. So what you're really solving is x equals, cross multiply, 2 times 12 divided by 3. Now you can get an answer for that real quick, like with a calculator. If you can't do it in your head, it is 6, right? If you could do it in your head, that's great too. So, were you guys familiar with that? I know you started on Math 10, is that right? Yeah, so you're familiar with that? Just have that memorized and straight down. Yeah.
Do you want me to write an answer? Like, put the question there and answer?
Yeah, you follow along and rework some stuff. Yeah. Because you know what happened last year too is that you were working on your own more, and I think you'll do better if we're working as a group, right? That's why, and it's the only reason why. If you want to work ahead, then go ahead. Anyways, you type that in your calculator. If you can't do it in your head, we've got 6 as the answer. That means, not that you need to write it up here, but 2 out of 3 is equal to 6 out of 12. Now, what about when the x is on the bottom? Let's try this one. B. Hi, welcome back. So with this one, 1 out of 2 is equal to 8 out of x. Do you see, when I say cross multiply, the x is here, right? So I've got to cross multiply the 2 and the 8, and the loaner is 1. Follow me on that? Okay, so x is equal to, cross multiply, 2 times 8, divide by 1. Divided by 1 doesn't change much.
Doesn't x equal 8 for the first one?
I'm sorry?
Doesn't x equal 8 for the first one?
Yes, it does. Someone said 6, and I trust you. I didn't even think about it. Thank you. 24 divided by 3. Really good. Way better than the wrong answer. 24 divided. I don't know why I heard 6. I said, yep. I didn't even think about it. 8 is correct. Boy, do I feel like $1 million now on my birthday, no less. Terrible, isn't it? Janelle, how can you trust me now? Thank you, Alyssa. I make mistakes, so keep pointing them out. And that's the other Alyssa. Hey, Alyssa, did you meet Alyssa? Alyssa and Alyssa. Do you know each other? You do now. Okay. So this one, 2 times 8 is 16, divided by 1, still 16. I will start paying more attention, that's for sure. Okay. Does that make some sense? Okay, I'm going to give you guys a second or 2 or 7, 12 seconds, whatever, to solve for this one. 7 and 45 are across from each other. Divide by 9. Hop, diggity dog. Give it a minute. Not even. And then I'll see. So, I'll write down what you'd probably be doing. We'll compare answers in a second. Seven. Now I'll stand in front of them. You guys got an answer? Yeah. 35. It's good to be alive. And you're 41. Me. Not you. Not yet. So 35. You guys see that? The cross multiply 7 times 45. Divide by the loner. Divide by 9. Right? That's your ticket. Now, what you guys are going to have to do is try to solve problems that involve this kind of stuff. And you're going to be working on this stuff tomorrow. And I'll get you to that in a second here. I can tell that some people are working on something. I'll just wait for a second. Tell you guys are catching up and stuff. It's good. Why did I put 6 there? Okay. Nope, not yet. Now the trickiest thing is coming up with the equations, but once you have the equation, I think you'll know how to solve it. I'm going to flip the page. Is that good? Okay. It says read page 12. Don't worry about that. Sandra. Big Sandy. Isn't Sandy that chipmunk on SpongeBob or whatever? Yeah, it is, isn't it? Where's because chipmunks can't breathe underwater. Where's a helmet? Anyway, Sandy there. Has to administer. Better pay attention to this because word problems get confusing, and that's what this course is about, actually. Has to administer 300 milligrams of a drug, but it comes from a vial that has 120 milligrams of the drug for every 2 mils of fluid. Oh my goodness. How many milliliters of fluid will she need to give her patient? Sandy must be a nurse. How could Sandra use proportional reasoning? Now normally your pharmacist does this for you and they just say on the package, you know, give 3 mils or 2.5 mils every 8 hours and stuff like that. But if you ever read, you know how baby Tylenol is in a liquid? You ever see that? It's pink and it tastes like bubble gum and stuff. It's actually kind of good. Anyways, if you get it, you read on it, and I don't know what it is, but it'll give you something like this. It'll say 120 milligrams per 2 mils or something like that, whatever the Tylenol concentration is. And then you might say, well, my kid's a little heavier. I need to give them 300 milligrams. You'd have to figure this out. There's a chart on the side of the bottle that tells you, though, for the age, you know, 5, you give this much. But this is how they figure it out. So you have to think 300 milligrams is what I want. Hey there. And 120, there's a different color for that. 120 milligrams in 2 mils of fluid is what we've got. Hey guys, good to see you. You guys are in the 10, right? No, you guys are 20, Austin and Jade. Okay, I'll get back to you in a bit. I'll just finish this up. So, what I underlined in green is sort of like what's on the label or whatever, it says there's 120 mg per milligrams for every 2 mils in a dropper. Okay? Now, when you write this down, put the milligrams in mils. It's important. And I'll show you why. Now, that's the given piece of information there. You want 300 milligrams, though. Now, where do I put the 300 milligrams, though? This is why I wanted you to label milligrams and mils. The milligrams, you see, if they're on the top here, milligrams go on the top on that side. So that means the 300 milligrams from here, I'm going to put up top. The 300 milligrams that you want, there, you want to find out how many milliliters, that's your X. And he knows the phrase that pays, right? Cross multiply, divide by the loaner. Now you'd use a calculator for this. You could do this one in your head, actually. So I'm thinking 2 times 300 is 600 divided by 120. 5. Check me out though. I've been making mistakes. So 2. I'll write this down. 2 times 300 divided by 120. And can somebody verify my math? I thought it was 5, that's off the head though. I made a mistake already. It is 5. You are my math genius, I guess, eh? I don't know about that. Are you? You're catching errors anyways. 5. Now what is that? Is that 5 milligrams or milliliters? Milliliters, right, because we were looking at how many milliliters. So put 5 milliliters. The fluid needed to get the patient. How many milliliters? 5 milliliters. I'm going to just put a little bit of a sentence, is needed. Okay? Try to put a little explanation. You know, like, and, well, I'm going to stop the recording, and you guys are going to just, I'll stop the mispronouncing too.